visit of Erdogan mean? What is Turkey actively supporting? Why Turkey is actively supporting Northern Cyprus? What are Turkey's interests there? And in your opinion, can Turkey annex Northern Cyprus?
Well, the short answer is that Turkey is not going to annex North Cyprus, simply because I think that this policy would be quite foolish for Turkey. Supporting a separate state in Cyprus, meaning supporting changing of territorial integrity, can create a precedent for Turkey in a negative way, especially with the Kurds. So I don't think that that's a good idea to support two-state solution in Cyprus, let alone annexation. But in order to focus on the reasons for this specific visit to the fenced area of Varosha, Turkey will be facing property claims by the Greek Cypriots, specifically those Greek Cypriots who have property in the fenced area of Varosha. So to me, the last couple of years I've been saying this very openly, that Turkey will have to take a step regarding fenced area of Varosha, and this is not going to be a surprise to me. This particular step is not there yet, but I think that this is a prelude. This is the beginning. I think that the next step will be to transform the status of the fenced area of Varosha from a military zone to make it a normal zone, so that the immovable property board in the north, which is regarded as a local remedy by the European Court of Human Rights, will start dealing with the property claims of the Greek Cypriots. Otherwise, if this immovable property board cannot further these cases, then Turkey will be facing those cases in the European Court of Human Rights. That's why Turkey wants to avoid that. And that's the reason why Turkey is taking the step in Varosha. As I said, the step they took now is not there yet. That is the next step. But on the other hand, this is also a kind of retaliation by Turkey towards the Greek Cypriot stance vis-à-vis two things. One, towards a comprehensive solution to the Cyprus problem. As the recent history showed in 2004, when the Greek Cypriot majority rejected the UN peace plan, as well as it is not a secret that in 2017, more recently, it was the Greek Cypriot president who actually left Crans-Montana, which led to the collapse of the negotiations. So there is a built-up Turkish frustration on it. So this is a retaliation to that, as well as the Greek Cypriot stance on not discussing together with the Turkish Cypriots the issue of the hydrocarbons in the Eastern Mediterranean. So in a way, this is like killing two birds with one stone. That can explain Turkey's stance or this show in the fenced area of Varosha.
What, in your opinion, is the best solution to this problem, to this situation? What do the residents of Northern Cyprus want? How does the conflict affect Turkey's relations with Greece and the Republic of Cyprus?
Look, it's been proven by public opinion polls on both sides of the island that I myself, together with some Greek Cypriot colleagues, have been conducting in the last 10 years. We actually we polled about alternative solutions to the Cyprus problem, ranging from two-state to a federal solution to the continuation of the status quo, or a confederal solution, or annexation of North with Turkey. The results come very steadily every year, that the first choice of Turkish Cypriot people is a two-state solution, and a federal solution, a bizonal, bicommunal federation, is the second preference. Whereas in the south, in the Greek Cypriot community, the first preference is a unitary state, one person, one vote, and a federal solution, bizonal, bicommunal federation, comes as second preference. But the results tells us that the only alternative that has the chance to pass in a future referendums on both sides, whether we like it or not, is a bizonal, bicommunal federation. Because the other options will be rejected by either one side or both sides. So if we want to be practical, and if we are looking for the possible among these alternatives, a federal solution is the only alternative. But it takes two to tango. That means that both sides need to show this leap of good faith, that both sides should come to a mutual compromise so that we can reach a solution. As I said, there is no chance that a unitary solution will be accepted by Turkish Cypriots, which is the Greek Cypriot first preference. And a two-state solution currently is not really an alternative for the Greek Cypriot side. So it leaves us with only one option, which is the second preference for both sides. And I think it is only normal, because if you want to reach a peaceful solution, it requires mutual concessions on both sides. So I hope that after the UN Secretary General's call for a five-party conference, informal meeting, I hope that everybody comes to their senses and they open a path towards a federal solution. Otherwise, continuation of the status quo has shown that it has been sustainable so far, but that it is also filled with increasing tensions between the above-mentioned parties.
And how is it affecting Turkey's relations with the Republic of Cyprus, this conflict?
Well, as I put it very openly, more tension. If this continues, rising tensions in the region is not going to be a surprise to me. Yeah.
Another zone of conflict with European countries is the Aphrodite gas field on the shelf of Cyprus.
Mm-hmm.
Ankara insists that all is legally there with the permission of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, but the authorities of Greece, Cyprus, and other countries do not agree with this. Do you think Ankara has the right to claim the continental shelf? Why? Why is this field interesting to Turkey? How can this situation be resolved?
Well, look, when it comes to maritime borders and designing these borders, you take either a bilateral action, meaning you go and try to delineate your EEZ, exclusive economic zone, or maritime borders. This is one way. But the other one is a multilateral approach, where you actually gather everybody, all the stakeholders, all the littoral states, all the coastal states in the region under one roof, around one table, and you use both international law as well as the principle of equity and, in a sense, of justice. This is a better way of solving the problems. Yes, you can do bilateral agreements, but only through bilateral agreements you're not going to be able to solve the whole region of the Eastern Mediterranean. Currently, the last 15-something years, the Greek Cypriot-dominated Republic of Cyprus have signed these agreements with Israel, with Egypt, and Lebanon. But Turkey does not recognize this, basing their claims on part of international law, mostly on the principle of equity. That's why they use both diplomatic as well as gunboat diplomacy, military show of force. The deal with Libya was part of the diplomacy, and sending the Navy to the Eastern Mediterranean and preventing big companies like Eni is the other component of the other side of diplomacy. So the best way to go is basically that all coastal states and all relevant actors, including Turkish Cypriots, including the Palestinians, should sit down and iron out these differences together. Mm-hmm.
Next question would be, how do you rank the relations between Turkey and Europe in general? Is the policy of enmity with the EU beneficial for Turkey? Why was this tactic chosen? What issues are the most difficult for Turkey and European countries to agree on? Why? How do you rank the future relations between Turkey and Europe?
Look, the relations between Turkey and European Union specifically have been a complex relationship. There have been ups and downs, ebbs and flows. For example, between, let's say, 1999 until 2005, 6, 7, those years were sort of the golden years between European Union and Turkey, where Turkey was then taking a lot of steps towards reforms, reforming the economy as well as reforming the political space. We have seen, for example, the abolition of death penalty. We have seen the increased scope of freedoms in Turkey. But unfortunately, in the last several years, since early 2000s, and specifically more intensively after the coup attempt in Turkey, that the relations between European Union and Turkey have soured. I think that if you look at it from the historical perspective, I'm optimistic in this sense that I think that this period will probably pass. I don't know when, but if, let's say, 3-4 years from now, if we see a Turkey turning its face again towards European Union and more towards the superiority of rule of law and democracy, I won't be surprised. But currently, this is not where we are. So, especially when it comes to democracy and rule of law and human rights, these are the difficult issues between Turkey and European Union now. Enmity is, just like in the individual life, similarly, is not the best energy among the relationship between different countries. So avoiding enmity and looking for harmonious relationship is and should be the way to go for Turkey and European Union.
Like many European countries, Turkey is a NATO member. At the same time, Turkey bought Russian C-400s and tested them. This act was not appreciated by NATO. Why is Turkey doing this? Does she want to leave the alliance? Is NATO membership important for Turkey? And why?
Again, similar to the EU membership, I think that this is a difficult time. I don't think that Turkey, under any administration, would be willing to exit NATO. I think that Turkey, as one of the early members of NATO, will remain in NATO, but currently it's not a secret that Turkey has been having some problems with some of the NATO members, specifically with Greece, with France. But I think that, as I said, this is not a, let's say, a shift from the axis. I think that Turkey will come back, especially, look, the last several years, we have been seeing this global power configuration or this global changing of the power balance in the world. For example, there is this relative decline of United States, and on the other hand, there is the relative rise of China, and to a lesser extent, again, relative rise of Russia. That's why every country is trying to situate itself, trying to assert its position in this uncertain time where everything is almost up for grabs. So, for example, when you look at Brexit, when United Kingdom exited European Union, it created a vacuum, and France's recent assertiveness and more visibility, both in Eastern Mediterranean and elsewhere, is not a random thing. When Macron himself says that NATO came to the brain death, it's not also something that came out of blue, but it is due to this new power configuration. And as you know, last several years on the global level, we also witnessed the rise of populist politics. Election of Trump has speeded up this process, especially Trump followed a foreign policy which is totally different from the traditional US foreign policy. It created almost like a crack in the transatlantic alliance together with the European allies. But now that Trump is out, with the new administration, I think that Biden will turn his face back to the other side of the transatlantic and try to use multilateral diplomacy when it comes to world issues in cooperation with the European allies, which will change things, hopefully, mellow down these tensions on the global level.
Speaking of the States, the U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo visited Cyprus and Greece,
Mm-hmm.
supported countries in the conflict with Turkey, and also called on the parties to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Pompeo arrived in Turkey this week. He didn't visit Ankara, but Istanbul. He also didn't meet with the Turkish foreign minister,
Mm-hmm.
neither President Erdogan. The reason is that the schedules didn't match.
Mm-hmm.
In Istanbul, Pompeo was scheduled to meet with the head of the Greek Orthodox Church,
Mm-hmm.
which the Turkish foreign minister called an extremely inappropriate intervention. Why do you think Turkish officials didn't meet with Pompeo? What does this act mean? Why did Pompeo come to Turkey?
Well, I don't have the information about the details of Pompeo's visit, but we all know that Pompeo represents an administration which is in the office for formality 2 more months. So I don't think that he represents the continuity of the U.S. foreign policy. Probably in January, after the presidential inauguration, there'll be a new Secretary of State of the United States, which will probably act a bit different compared to Pompeo. There are some claims that he's in the region also trying to polish up his own image, that he will be running for presidency in the next US elections 4 years from now. I don't know, but there used to be a balance when an American Secretary of State visited the region. If a Secretary of State visits Greece, he or she would visit Turkey, or vice versa. But this is not currently being done. I think that this is also a continuation of the populist politics, as well as the part of it, as I said, was Pompeo's own agenda. The reason of not meeting with state officials, it was suggested that it was about this crowded agenda. I don't think that that's a very realistic thing. But expecting the host country's foreign minister to fly from Ankara to Istanbul to meet with the counterpart is not really a diplomatically correct way of doing it. So it is understandable why the Turkish foreign minister, why Pompeo's counterpart is not meeting with him. If Pompeo visited Ankara, I think that either the foreign minister or both foreign minister and president of Turkey could have met him. But I think that the intention is mostly, or the reason is mostly on Mr. Pompeo.
Could this mean that this connection, Turkey is no longer interested in contacting the administration of the United States, which is likely to change in 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
Erdogan always considered Trump his friend, and now he turned his back on him. It's a question actually. Did he turn his back on him? How do you rank relations between Turkey and the United States under Trump? At what level are they? Have relations gotten worse or better? On what issues did the parties disagree?
Well, the U.S.-Turkey relations have been going sour starting way before